Local, national, groundbreaking, informative, educational, community-driven. News that makes a difference. You are now entering Above the Fray.
Hello, Austin, and welcome to Above the Fray. Hope you're doing well in this situation today, and hope you're in the best of health and best of spirit, always, okay? Got to say that for a lot of reasons. A lot of people are not. I want to talk about a very important issue called public safety and what it really means, because oftentimes we hear that word and they don't really explain it. I mean, for example, right now, we talk about crime, how bad crime is, and it is bad. But in reality, the crime rate is like, it's been almost 30 years. So why is that? Why do we think it's bad when in reality, comparatively speaking, it's actually lower? Let's talk about media, what we're exposed to. You see, in today's world, we're exposed to so much sensation, everything is overblown and overkill, as we would say. So your mind is doing, it's taking that, and it's just processing it. It's not going to make any distinction because you can't get away from it. If something happens, you typically see it. And you see it over and over and over again. That doesn't mean it's more crime. It means that it's being covered by almost everybody. And we have to address that, because too much of that stuff has an impact. I would say, from a psychological standpoint, it almost knows you sometimes of what you're going through. At some point, you kind of get used to it like it's normal. It's not normal, but you can have too much of it, and it can have an impact on you from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint. And I believe what I'm saying today, some of it does. There are folks out there who are already kind of a little bit unbalanced, and it tips you a certain way. So So how do you deal with it? Do you ever take a break and just not watch the TV or media for a while? It's kind of tough not to do nowadays. But just have a nice walk in the afternoon where you can let your mind clear itself out, or go to the park. Those things are there for a reason. So I want to first say, just take a look at what you're going through so you know what's really going on around you. It's bad enough without creating more things. But I want to say, one way to do it is to back off a little bit and maybe read or something. Do something that involves thinking and relaxing, and kind of unplug from this reality sometimes. You live longer, you feel better, and you find things to do other than just watch the TV all the time. And I love the news, by the way, but I can't watch it 24 hours a day. In fact, I can't hardly get away from it, but I can tune out sometimes. So I want to just share that. And secondly, another topic is the economy. You've been told right now that everything is bad, that inflation is high, and inflation is going up a little bit. But again, under Joe Biden, black folks in this country had our best economic response in almost 30, 40 years. Child poverty, by the way, is down. That's amazing. Thanks to the child tax care credit, we've had more resources with children and our institutions. But you wouldn't think that, would you? Because they don't get credit for it. Our housing costs right now in the city is slowing down a little bit. Actually, in some places, the mortgages are going down. But back to black people, because we don't see those things, we don't talk about them, the fact that child poverty is going down affects us more than anybody else. The dollar rate of poor people nowadays is going even further than it's ever been. And by the way, rich folks' dollars right now have been going down. You know, this past, I think it was Monday, everybody freaked out because they said that Japan cut their interest rates. They went nuts, right? And the world was coming to an end, but not really, because the next day, prices rose back up. So what really caused that? Things didn't really change, but somebody had a different perspective, and they said it. They said, okay, we're going to cut our rates. So what does that mean? That means they're going to mess up the economy, but you have folks scared for 24 hours. Now all of a sudden, this thing got back to normal in 4 days? Think about what that really means and how much control folks have over your mind and therefore your actions. I have folks really like, hey man, look, give it a little bit more time, man. So the next day, Japan said, you know what? We're not going to really do that anymore. Okay, well, why you do it the first time? Certainly got a reaction, right? See, what I'm saying is it's so important to look at things for what they are rather than make an assumption and believe what you see. The stock market controls so many things in this country, what people spend, what they buy, and oftentimes it's all a mind game. What you think you see or being told is not even reality. So how do you evaluate that? You got to take a little time and understand what the economy is about, what money is about, and how you can change things by saving, for example. When folks quit buying stuff, it has an impact on folks with money. When you buy wisely, you have an impact as well. And sometimes we don't think about what we can do to control our own destiny. You can by being informed. You can also do things based on price, get the best price possible. Don't just buy what things that make you look better or feel better, but save your dollars. Those things affect our economy. And so what you saw this week was a great experiment in economics, but also how much people control things. It's amazing how different thought can produce a different reality, although it's not permanent. And that applies to so many things in life. That's why life is, it gives you so many opportunities to learn as well. That's why I like talking and sharing things that I see. So when you see these things happen in the media, don't just assume what the people say is true. Give it a little time and see what happens and see what it ends out to be. This is Friday. Now, nobody's talking about the stock market today, are they? Or Japan today, are they? Just 4 or 5 days, because it wasn't true. It was a temporary, they call it a temporary hiccup. Hiccups don't last, I don't think. They're not pleasant, but they don't last. So when you see these things happening, that's why you got to understand these topics. I watch a place called CNBC. They cover the whole world. They show you the economies in Asia, Europe, parts of Africa, and you can see what these folks are doing around the world and how what happens in Japan affects what happens here. That's good to know, but don't stay there. Just make some comparison and understand that it is good to be informed, but don't be too informed where you can't decipher things, and give your mind a break every now and then, because it needs one, and I can tell you from experience. So what I'm saying is, don't let the world give you your own personality. Look at what the world is saying, what you see, and come to your own conclusion based on best practices, which is to pay attention, but not believe the stuff you're saying like things are coming to an end. It's not. What is helping now is that if you read more, reading has a very different impact than watching TV, by the way. It calms your nerves, your mind. I love reading. It's actually good for you because your mind is exercising certain things. So think about ways how you can tune yourself down a little bit, like a car engine, tune yourself up and take out the excess stuff that you really don't need. A lot of it also is nutrition. I want to share that based on what I see. When I see panic and folks call me and tell me what we're going to do, well, first of all, we're going to sit back and decipher what's going on around us. And that will help a lot of people in terms of their health and their blood pressures and what they go through. I got to say that based on what I see and experience every day. For example, driving a car. You see folks driving crazy. I think every big truck I see nowadays wants to be a race car. What causes that? These big trucks running on the road like they're racing somewhere. Do you want to respond to that? I don't think so. But people like to respond to, no, just let these folks do their thing. You stay calm. There's so many things out there today that will provoke you. But I notice if you don't respond to it, they don't have any sensation, they don't get any energy from you. But once you respond to it, look at it, guess what? You just gave them more fuel. It's amazing how things like that can stop certain things from happening. I see so many people that feed in that stuff, then they're blowing their horn back, pretty soon somebody's got hurt. They're not in my lane, I'm cool. They're not in my window, I'm cool. It's amazing how when you stand your ground and just not focus on it, how things tended to work itself out. Those things I watch a lot, and that's why I'm talking about it. But I want to go forward again and talk about where we are right now on the economy in 2024, because we're in the midst of a presidential race. You can hear folks talk about the economy is falling apart, and it's not. They're going to attack Biden as much as possible, because every time the economy does anything with black people, the big guys don't like it. They're losing money right now. We've been losing money like forever, it seems like, in terms of prices. But they're losing money right now because the economy is slowing down because of his policies. It's being more favorable to black folks who are disproportionately poor, and other folks too. But the stock markets are very volatile, and if you got money, you can play with it, but unless you got money, you better be careful. And just know that what we're doing now and seeing now under Biden has been a good economy, because, see, Kamala Harris, they're going to attack her based on the economy. They're trying to do it already. But we say, no, black people. Look at your rate of your dollar today. Look at child poverty today. And you see that Biden's policies are very good, and she's going to promote the same thing. But they got to find a way to try to touch people, because we believe too much. So when they say that, say, you heard Nelson say that's not true. Look at the poverty in this country. It went down in 30 years. All of a sudden now, black poverty is going down all of a sudden. But nobody's talking about that. So when you hear this stuff, if you can, let folks know, no, that's not true. The economy shows us something different. The measurement shows the exact opposite. So when you vote for somebody, what are you voting for? You vote for what they say or what they do. Check out what they do if you can, and then see what people are actually doing. And I want to say that because right now I get a lot of phone calls based on this political stuff, like Donald Trump. People just lie and people accept it. Like it's normal. No, it's not normal, but you got to be informed. And spend your dollars wisely. And I always tell people, if you can, support your own institutions. That's a good thing. But you got to be practical also. You can't always do that, but when you can, support your own institution, your own businesses, and find folks who you like who do great work, support them as well. That's kind of how I shift sometimes from just politics, but looking at basic things that enrich our lives. I also say, if you're doing well, it's okay to invest in as many black causes as possible. I always say, help as many people as possible. I like supporting other events. I always give away a lot of things. I love charity in terms of helping other people. It makes you feel better. It's also encouraged, by the way. Don't be selfish. Just try to be humane, and don't look down on people because they're having a bad day. If you can help them, help them. We got to talk more about the side of life, about the things that we can do. Just little things like caring about other people and feeling their pain and praying for them as much as possible, but also helping them as much as possible. I always remind people, it's a great thing to pray, but let's keep it right. Let's also work as well. See, prayer and work are complementary. You can't do one without doing the other, I think. If you really are a praying person, also let your work reflect that. That's what it says, essentially. But when you pray, you don't work, it's not effective. You got to work. You got to be human. You got to be human. So saying all that, when you know where we are in 2024, it's a good time to look at what things are going in the world, because the world is shifting very fast. You can see the death and destruction in places like Gaza and Israel. But there are wars now almost taking place in South America, in Europe, even in America, all over the world. There's a lot of unrest out there because people are unsettled. But just pay a little attention, because if it's there, it also can affect you here. That's how the world is now. But don't get caught up in it. Just know, because when you know something, when it happens, you don't have to react to it. You don't have to panic. Panic is not good for anything. Always got to think things through and don't rush your actions. So having said that, when I thought about going into this business, doing this kind of work, that's what I thought about. What could I say based on my little life and perspective, help folks have a little insight on how to slow down and don't be always influenced by what everybody's doing. Sometimes you got to go the opposite direction. I've done all my life. Didn't work out too bad. Learn how to think, be positive, encourage folks to do better. You might want to hang out with folks also who really have your well-being in mind. Because life is not a competition. It's really a form of cooperation. It works much better. We all are special and have gifts, but we don't know that. We don't get our gift or our mission. Find out what your mission is. Some of the things out there that are great and good. So I want to encourage you, when you hear me talk about these things that are bad, I'm trying to break them down, but also there's a whole other side of me when I'm thinking about what I can do that's good. What is good in the world? Like speaking to people, for example. I always wonder about, I see a lot of our people nowadays on the street and I speak to them, but they don't speak back. I don't take it personally. I just wonder, what are they thinking? It's almost like they're afraid to look my way. I don't get mad. I just keep walking. But I know. So why is that? Because I know where I came from. We were taught to speak to people, not just people, right? So why are you afraid to speak? You never know who you're bypassing, right? So when you speak to people and you're kind to them, it's amazing what kind of your body chemistry changes. How you doing, sir? How you doing, ma'am? It's amazing. Rather being all uptight like you ain't seeing nobody. Knowing darn well you see them, right? Because you're walking into them. But I gotta laugh because I wonder where this stuff comes from and who influences that. Well, folks go along to get along. Anyway, look, in saying these final words, life is very serious. And what I try to do is work with positive people, try to do what I can to make my community better. And part of that is education. I was telling a friend of mine today about what I say in the education system nowadays, the importance of science and math. They are so advanced. We got things happening in the world, technology, we don't even understand, but we have it. And I say, while I love technology, we need all that, but you also got to be a human being. And oftentimes what we're seeing now is that because of technology and how we do things, it affects our humanity. So I'm going to slow down and say, think a little more about who you are as a human being. Don't let technology think you're not human, because you are human. And no robot, as long as I'm around, it's going around my world. I'm sorry. they have a purpose, I guess, but no, I don't need to be thinking that robots can do everything they can. I've never seen a robot that had a pulse or a heart. I've never seen it. Now they create that, I'm gonna give up. But they can't. So you still want to be human and have feelings, and realize that man cannot create man. That doesn't work that way, okay? But this technology, it is a danger, because guess what they're doing? They're laying people off. These big corporations, they're doing robots to do your job. So just be aware of what's happening around us because it's very serious. And I know we don't talk about it enough. So I hope this helps you. Stop for a moment, think about what you see and how it affects you so you can prepare for it better. Having said that, folks, I want you to have a great weekend. I want you to pay attention and find like-minded people and do things together in your community and make an effort to make things better. And most of all, know who you are. And so again, in closing, you're not in competition. It's not a sport. It's not a game. This is life. And in life, we're all better when we cooperate and see each other's strength, their skills, and their gifts. And we can share all that, and we're all better. We call it society and community, okay? Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Do something good for the world. Be safe. Love your children. Love yourself. And let's work together more.
Local, national, groundbreaking, informative, educational, community-driven. News that makes a difference. Above the fray.